Hello, fellow Toolboxers. Thanks for joining us. Episode number 353. We're doing a great interview with the colleague Jessica Ramos, and she's talking about her private, not private practice, it's public center practice, but it's very interesting kind of background she has. It gives a different flavor that what you're used to seeing on the podcast. But also discussing the Ohio chapter conference, which is happening. A lot of neat stuff happened there, so a really fun conversation to have. Meet some good friends to this podcast. So I love doing this. Having said that, before we start, this is not intended for individual legal guidance. Please consult an immigration attorney. Let y'all know that already. And I want to remind you all about two notes about the courses we have. These are premium courses, but the marriage green card course gets you started, make your own practice, or get into family-based immigration, marriage cases, consular processing, adjustment of status. If that's what you want to add on, if you're getting into immigration law, this is the number one place to go to because we really spend 18 hours of videos going through this one-on-one sessions that you get afterwards. You get group sessions, samples, contract samples, everything you need to know how to be successful in this game. And also, if you're interested in that, email me info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com or go to our website, ILTbox or immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. And there's a page for the course. But also, I'm doing this test run, a live session of how to get an E2 visa. This time, change of status, under $100,000, real estate company. Person has no experience in real estate, and we got it approved. I want to go through that in the nuances of what you have to watch out for, how we did it. It's a live session, 6 people only, and not recorded. 4 spots. When I'm recording this, it's 4 of the spots are gone. Only 2 spots left. So probably by the time you hear this, it's all gonna be sold out. But still, reach out to me. If I get more information out, I'll do another session and go through some other E2 cases I've done that are interesting. Info@Immigration Lawyers Toolbox is the email. Info@ImmigrationLawyersToolbox.com. Well, having said that, without further ado, let's get the show started. Hi, Jessica. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So let's jump into it. Let me know, how did you get into immigration law? Where are you from, your background, and what got you into immigration law?
Sure. So I am just a plain old girl from West Virginia originally, but I studied Spanish in college and got a master's in that. And that kind of opened up a whole new world to me and of multiculturalism and met people from all over the world while I was studying for my master's and got really involved in in a lot of different associations. And I decided that I wanted to be an immigration lawyer and decided to go to law school. So I did that kind of on a whim. It wasn't really planned. It was just kind of one of these things where I was like, okay, this seems like a good career path. I'll just try it out.
Yeah.
And loved it. And I've been in the nonprofit world my whole career. So I've been an attorney for about 15 years now and started off at a nonprofit called Advocates for Basic Legal Equality. Spent about 12 years there and then changed and moved down to Cincinnati, Ohio, where I am currently at the Legal Aid Society of Southwest Ohio.
Great. So Legal Aid Society, is that like because I've heard of them before. Do they have like independent branches through different areas of the country?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of legal aid societies are funded by the Legal Services Corporation, which is actual federal funding from Congress. My particular legal aid is kind of has two branches. So we have a branch that receives federal funding and then a branch that doesn't receive federal funding. The federal funding comes with some restrictions on helping immigrants in certain statuses. So it's important to legal aids can do immigration work, but if they receive the federal funding, sometimes they're limited in the types of populations they can assist.
What do those limitations look like?
Typically, it's limited to helping people who are victims of crime, victims of domestic violence, victims of human trafficking, um, people who are already applying for LPR status, LPRs. It's very limited in the types of assistance you can provide to basically undocumented people who are looking to regularize or legalize their status in some way. There's some limitations there.
Now, what do the demographics look like in the Cincinnati area? What kind of groups of people do you typically help?
That's a great question. So Cincinnati has a pretty strong resettlement program. So we have a large Hispanic population, but we also have a large African population here. And then we also have some Southeast Asian populations. So it's kind of an interesting mix. Don't have a lot of European or Eastern European countries or a lot of your traditional Asian countries, but we do have a strong Afghan population. We have a large Mauritanian community from Mauritania and in West Africa, and then, like I said, our Hispanic population.
When it comes to Hispanic population, any particular countries?
Um, a lot of Guatemalans. And then after that, it's just a smattering. We have all over Central and South America, really.
Hmm.
So
And the case types that all the humanitarians use, T's, asylum, do you guys handle everything?
mostly, like I said, we are limited in some things that, for resource purposes, we do not do much family based adjustments or family based immigration,
Hmm.
just because we feel like that's something that private practitioners can handle. We don't do any employment, obviously, so it is mostly limited to humanitarian things where we only serve low income individuals. So we do try to focus on the most vulnerable populations. We do a lot of SIJS, a lot of U's, T's, VAWAs, those types of things.
What kind of delays are you seeing with the U visas right now? I'm pretty
Well, of
hardcore, I
course,
guess.
the backlogs are backed up, extremely, they say by decades maybe. So we are seeing folks getting bona fide determinations, which come with work permits. So that's great. It's kind of been a hit or miss as far as who is getting them.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason to when you applied and when you get your BFD. Some people are getting them very quickly. Some people are waiting years to get their BFDs. But I think they're working through that backlog, and hopefully it'll be more streamlined in the future.
How does a nonprofit manage these delays where you have a case is half we get the BFD, but then you're still waiting and you have a million other people coming? How do you manage with your staff? Do you have any particular advice you give to other people?
Yeah. So what we basically have done is we've created a spreadsheet where we're tracking everyone. And basically, once an advocate files a case, it kind of gets taken away from them and put in a filing cabinet and put on this spreadsheet. And we have a paralegal that monitors the spreadsheet every month, going through, checking for updates, making sure, folks haven't been put in removal proceedings, or, just keeping everything up to date.
Yeah.
And waiting for those cases to be adjudicated. But at some point, somebody's going to have to pay the piper down the line with those cases. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Oh man, clients don't understand that just the organization that's trying to manage this kind of caseload and delays. It makes it really hard to do good work and opens it up for potential errors to open up, just because it's so difficult the way the immigration system's functioning or malfunctioning right now.
Yeah, malfunctioning is really the right word.
So how big is the operation? How many attorneys and paralegals? How does that all look?
So my team is very small. We have 3 attorneys and 2 paralegals right now, but we only cover a 7 county area. So there are other legal aids that cover other portions of
Sure.
the state. So it is a large metropolitan area, Cincinnati, but we don't have that large of a geographical territory
Yeah.
that we cover.
Well, for immigration law, that's like a mid-sized firm right there. 3 lawyers and 3 paralegals, so that's a big operation for us. And
Yeah.
so, how do you find time to do that and then host and help with your colleagues to start the Ohio chapter conference? That's all work out.
Yeah, it's a lot. So this is my second year serving as chair of the Ohio chapter of AILA,
Hmm.
and it is a lot of work. But we're really excited about our conference this year. I think we've really got a great mix of different topics and different speakers lined up, more so than in years past. In years past, we kind of focused. We usually generally do a day and a half conference, and in years past, the half day was more geared towards beginners, and like basics for people who were new to immigration. But we veered away from that this year, and we decided we wanted all the sessions to be more intermediate to advanced.
Oh, neat.
And so the whole conference, I'm really excited about this year's lineup, much more than in years past. And I've been on the planning committee for several years, so I'm allowed to say that.
Any highlights? Any particular panels that people should look forward to?
Yeah, so we have on the first day, we have a crimmigration panel that we have some national speakers coming in for and some local experts. We also have a legal writing in the
Oh wow.
profession workshop. And I'm excited about that one because we have a former IJ that's going to be on that panel, as well as a writing professor. And so it's a great combination of like not only the technical skills, but the realistic skills that you need to impress judges. So we've got that legal writing course. And then in the other session we have on the first day is um, about CVIS and J visas, which is something that, for example, I don't really deal with, but I would like to know some basics about it. So hopefully, they can give us some overviews of CVIS and Fs and Js and those types of things, and some basic knowledge of that.
Well, that's really cool. I mean, it's so creative. The legal writing, I think other conferences take note. That's actually something really practical that you don't really see pop up too much because they go over the
Mhm.
basics of I-130 this or that, but that's like really practical. And the whole F1, J1, M1 system is something that's so complicated. I still have to study, I say 214. No, what is it? This it's 8 CFR, like 214F or something, 212F. Something, I don't know, but I got to keep going to it because I do a lot of adjustment status cases, but we got to fine tune. Did they do unauthorized employment? Did they not? Is this I-20 proper? Just there's constantly issues, and the schools a lot of times they don't have time to learn it well either, or there's high turnover in their international departments, so the people aren't aware. So constantly have to like send them like, okay, this statute is how you update this, or this person didn't fall out of status, you made an error, this and that. It's so important to know it, even though the clients don't always hire you, but it's something you just got to know as an immigration lawyer because it pops up a
Right.
lot.
Yeah, definitely. And our second day, we've got two tracks in the afternoon. So the morning, we have an ethics panel. Greg Siskin from out west is coming in to talk about AI
Mm-hmm.
and immigration law and how you can ethically use that in your practice management. And we also have Chastity Anastasio from AILA, who's one of their practice management professionals, is coming in to speak on that panel as well. Um, we have a hot topics panel where AILA executive committee members, Alexis Axelrod and Jeff Joseph, are coming in to give us an overview of the hot topics, what's going on across the country. This will be after the election, so maybe we'll be discussing whichever way it goes. Hopefully we'll be discussing how Kamala is going to handle immigration, but we're going to be prepared either way. Um, and then oh, go ahead.
We got a lot of big players coming in there. There's some big names. And I think I'm not sure it was your conference, someone's but Anastasio, her name. I think she's doing some program where people could individually. She does like training management or something like that at this session.
Yes. Yeah, she is. She is doing that. So you can sign up for individual practice management consultations with her for free. That's a service offered through AILA. So that's a great benefit for people
Oh,
who
everyone
are,
at AILA could do. I thought it was just or people coming to Ohio could do that.
well, anybody coming to the
Oh,
conference,
okay,
but it
okay,
is
yeah.
a,
I'm like, I'm gonna contact
yeah.
her right now.
Yeah, but it's a great benefit for folks to be able to talk to a professionalism management person
Mm-hmm.
and really get tips for their practice, be it solo, mid-size, large, and also to get any ethics questions
Yeah.
addressed. I know personally from my experience with working with immigrant children, I can call my state ethics hotline, and half the time they don't know the
Yeah,
answer.
same California.
Because it's just like immigration is its own beast.
Yeah.
So it's really helpful to have her on site to do those consultations. We also have, besides the hot topics panel, we also, I was trying to find my agenda here. Um, in the afternoon, we have two tracks. We have a business and business track, and we have a removal and family track. And in the family and removal track, one of the exciting things that I'm a family and removal practitioner, so of course that's the one I'm going to default to talk about. But we have a panel about we're calling tidbits, which is where we took 3 topics that people may be curious about, but maybe we didn't want to have a whole session about it.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a session where we have 3 completely unrelated topics. So we're talking about adoption, which I know nothing about.
Yeah.
We're
Me too.
talking about Afghan reunification processes, because there are multiple ways that you can bring Afghan family members in right now, and we have a specialist coming in to talk about that. And the third thing we're going to talk about is the new parole in place. So the hot topic, or I'm sorry, the tidbits panel is something that I was excited about. We also have a practice. A federal court litigation and a trial practice panel, and those will be specifically geared towards Ohio and Tennessee courts, because that's where most of our practitioners are coming from, either the Cincinnati, Cleveland area or Columbus area. So we want to focus on practice in those particular trial courts.
Now, when is the time and day? I should have started out with that. When is the conference going to be?
So it starts on Thursday, November 21st at noon and runs until 5. And then we have a happy hour, mixer where we have a great sponsor. Filevine is sponsoring us this year. And then it runs from 8 to 5 on Friday. So we did put the ethics sessions first to make everybody get out of bed early and get there on time. So hopefully
those are the hardest CLEs to get, so it's good to get the ethics one in.
Yeah, and get it out of the way first. So
now the Ohio chapter, is it include more? Is it more than Ohio, or is it Tennessee as well? Or
it's not, but because a lot of Cincinnati practitioners practice in the Louisville, Kentucky court, which is under the Memphis, Tennessee court, that's why we're including practitioners that practice in that area as well. It's actually closer to Louisville, Kentucky, to go to the court there than it is from Cincinnati than it is to go to Cleveland.
Interesting.
But technically, anyone that lives in Ohio is under the Cleveland immigration court jurisdiction.
And what does your the Ohio chapter look like? What demographics, or what's typical, or any information you have like this?
Yeah, sure. We have about 375 members, and we have practitioners all over the state, but mostly from the 3 Cs, from Columbus, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. Our immigration court is located in Cleveland. We have USCI offices in those 3 Cs as well.
Oh, wow.
So we have 3 USCIS offices, and so
we have 3 different field offices. That's a lot of that. Means a lot of people are coming back and forth that area.
Definitely. And it's been interesting. We've had some turnover in the FOD positions for all 3 positions, all 3 different field offices, and trying to get new liaison relationships established has been a bit of a challenge. They haven't been really super open to that.
That's always a hard one. You always want to have a good relationship with them, and it's just it's so political. When president changes, they shut it down, or the people change, just resetting a new relationship. It's a big thing, but that's one of the best parts of AILA local chapters is the connections with that get things done on these liaison levels.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last year we had Ben Johnson, the executive director of AILA, come out and speak at our conference, along with Kelly Stump, who's the president this year. So I think our chapter is growing in reputation as far as being able to attract national talent. All of our speakers and their bios are posted on our registration website, so people are free to peruse that. We also offer a hybrid option. So we are only seeking CLEs from the state of Ohio, but we're happy to give anybody a certificate of attendance that they can take with them to get seek CLEs through their own state. But we are pending 11.75 hours of CLE credit.
That knocks out a chunk of it. Well, really good.
Yeah, I mean, in Ohio, that's almost half of your requirements. Yeah. We're required to do 24 a year, or a biennium, and so if you go to both AILA conferences, you basically have your requirements done, and we're a relatively cheap conference. Ohio's not that expensive. Hotel rooms are $160 a night, and the conference itself is for AILA members is, I believe, $450.
That's reasonable price for 2 days. Yeah.
for a day and a half of
Yeah.
CLEs and a free, happy hour.
Mm-hmm.
So
He sold it. I wish I could come. I got little kids at home. I can't leave, but in a year or two, I'll be coming to all of them. Jessica, thank you so much for
yeah.
coming on. If people want to reach out to you, is there a best social media, website, or email address that you prefer?
Yeah, so people can feel free to email me. It's Jessica Ramos, my name, at LAS, as in Legal Aid Society, CINTI, like the abbreviation for Cinti, Cincinnati.org.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Stick around for a minute or two after I end this, but I really appreciate
Sure.
it, and thanks. I look forward
Yeah,
to hearing good news
thanks.
about the conference.
Thank you.
So thanks so much for listening. That was a fun interview with Jessica we had right there. Ohio conference is really interesting. I'd really like to go there. I've heard a lot of good stuff about Ohio. It's booming again. And apparently, I'm making a lot of investment in that state, so I want to see what's going on. If you haven't already, reach out and get yourself started on the marriage immigration course with the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox, or reach out to learn about our E2 live sessions that we're going to be doing, teaching you how to do, actual cases. E2, a lot of people want to get into business, and we got what you need to go over the process. Email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. Let me know which course you're interested in, and we can take it from there. I wish you all a good one, and see you next time. Bye-bye.